My friends, today I have such an extraordinary guest, Mr. Bob Butera. Please introduce yourself to the audience.
Well, I'm Bob. um, I'm with the Yoga Life Institute, something I founded or it founded me, perhaps. I would teach a yoga class when I was much younger. I studied yoga in India. After college, I was on the spiritual search, somewhat different from my friends. Not all of my friends, but most were figuring things out in different ways, and I was doing the spiritual search. Um, and when I started teaching yoga, a lot of people would show up. And then before I knew it, I was forced into making a yoga center. And that started in the Phoenixville, King of Prussia area. And we were there for 25 years-ish. Our latest book, we have 5 books, is called The Yoga Life.
Yoga Life.
Yes, we'll talk about that in a minute. And what we do now is online trainings of yoga teachers, which is like a 5-month, 200-hour program. And then we do yoga therapy, which is helping people work one-on-one. I have now, after my studies in India and all my yoga classes, I was encouraged to get a PhD in yoga.
Wow.
So I'm one of the few PhD yoga therapists. And instead of having a college professor's job, I ended up just opening up an institute.
I love that. I had never heard of that until meeting you, Bob, and thank you so much, because yoga has transformed my life. I've been practicing not nearly as long as you, which is why I have you on the show today, because I want to share with the audience how yoga does transform our lives. Whether you are an entrepreneur or someone in corporate, there are several facets of the practice that help us become our best selves. Let's lean into that a little bit and your expertise, Bob, if you don't mind.
Well, do you want to start with how it's changed your life?
Oh, well, yeah. So,
I mean, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is something that we talked about in the green room prior to recording. And I remember saying to you, a practice of consistency, helps me with my stillness, helps me with my awareness, helps me keep my ego in check. There's so many different things that I have written down that I'm reminded of when I enter the studio to practice. And you're like, okay, well, let's talk about yoga. Just doesn't have to be going into the yoga room, right? You said it could be walking your dog, which I
Well,
love that.
so you just gave me the entree into this. So you said, so most of us would say, I go to yoga,
Right.
and we see you in your fancy yoga outfit, which
Right.
there's some really good outfits. So don't always make fun of those. The yoga clothes are really helpful because they keep your body in place. They're just perfect, right? I bet you have a nice outfit
I love my
for
outfits.
yoga
Yeah.
that you don't wear to work.
Oh God, no. That I do.
But
Good one.
the thing,
Yes.
the springboard that you said is that your yoga gives you stillness,
Yes.
right? And then you said, what was the second one? It gives
Awareness.
me awareness. So when you're still, you gain awareness, correct?
Correct.
And you said a third thing?
Oh, does it help me become a better person?
Yes.
Oh,
Like,
the
so then the
ego,
awareness,
keeping the ego in
keeping
check.
the ego in check. So then when you have a broader awareness, but you're not actively doing something, right? You have an awareness of your life. You've basically gone on a retreat and you've reevaluated things. You've stepped away. Some people like to go fishing. And I always say, you're actually meditating in nature, and maybe you caught a fish, maybe. And most of the fishermen I asked never caught the fish, but they did meditate every single time.
Well,
right? Because they're in
yeah.
nature. People go jogging, right? And if they're
Right.
really in the zone and they're not like, and they take a walk, they go into nature, they unplug.
Right.
So we could say that all those activities give them a new perspective. Maybe somebody likes art, they like to read their book. Think of your hobbies. Most of the hobbies end up sounding like you. I would have expected the average person, now you've done yoga for a long time, so that's why you're in this place. They would
Right.
have said, it relaxes me, it strengthens me, it
Yeah.
makes my body aches and pains go away because I've
Right.
learned to not just stretch, but to release tension. Right. Which you see, she's nodding her
Yeah.
head, everybody,
Nodding my
because
head. Yes.
that happens every time too. But she's at a level where she's already good there and she knows she needs to do that, but she's hitting the mental benefits now. And
That's
this is
right.
what you've said is very common for anybody who's done yoga for a number of years. It doesn't have to be
Okay.
as long as you've done yoga, but
Right.
after a year or two, if a person learns a little bit, they start to plug into the mental benefits of the silence.
Yep. Yep.
So you could pray, you could go to your religious organization, like I said, you go to nature and you can achieve that. So one of the points I wanted to share with everybody, and
Please.
this is where like the PhD comes in. There's yoga with a small y, and in the dictionary, that means I went to a class in my yoga clothes, carrying my mat, and then we can make all kinds of funny jokes about, oh, look at all the yoga people walking down the street, they're so cool, or whatever, right? And
Right.
they say, oh, look at their yoga pants, or look at their
Right.
how peaceful they look, or whatever the thing we say. And that's true because they're going to relax, they're going to
Right.
strengthen, they're going to decrease tension in their system, which is going to cause the awareness, even if they're just beginning.
Right.
So then we have capital Y yoga, which is obviously where I was going with small y. So when we do our yoga therapy, or when we are trained at a higher level, then capital Y yoga sounds just like what you're doing. Awareness, ego reduction, like absolute stillness, peace, like accepting myself in my world, like all those types of spiritual platitudes that you might hear, you actually feel because you're essentially praying or going into stillness, which then gives the human being a chance for that perspective. So if I say capital Y yoga, and this is again what we spoke about, you could be doing that right now.
Right.
I feel really happy to be talking to you.
Right.
I feel higher awareness. I feel like our conversation is going to stimulate cool ideas.
Yeah.
And we all need that every day because there's enough problems for any one of us flowing over here that we need to cultivate the higher awareness. So I could go to work, and here's something we do with our yoga therapy counseling.
Please.
Most people go to work and they assume it's going to be difficult and stressful. And that, is obviously partially true.
Right.
It's an experience that majority of people say they have. And if I had my clock, it would be one of the options. But on the opposite end, let's say 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock, the opposite side could be my work brings higher awareness. My work brings compassion. My work has taught me about boundaries in life, like how to love without getting hurt. Whoa. Yeah, what did you do today, Bob? See, you could have said, I went to yoga and I looked cool with my girlfriends. You could have said something superficial or whatever you would say that would be superficial. Well, Bob, I achieved the twist, and my hands, they grabbed behind my back like that. And I achieved a new pose. And I could say at work, hey, I hit my sales numbers, or hey, our company is on the Fortune 500 now, and I was a part of that, and I'm a vice president, and I could be egocentric.
That's right.
Or I could work at the same company, I could be the CEO, and I could say, well, today I learned more about forgiveness. Or because, and I'm the CEO, and I'm a trillionaire, by the way, but I don't really care about that because my priority is on what's going to make me happy and what's going to serve humanity and bring love into my family. So I could be the mailroom guy making $15 an hour, not the CEO guy, and I could be just as happy in delivering the mail that's going to help everybody with their situations.
Right.
And if I bring it with a smile, They're gonna be like, "Hey, Bob," like, "Hey, Francesca, good to see you," and you'll be like, "Yeah, how's your day?" Just like the school janitor who's the keynote speaker at the
Right.
graduation. You ever heard of
Right.
that? Like it happens a lot. And like I remember our janitor, he was kind of like an on-site policeman, father, counselor, nice guy, cheer you up. He was whistling down the hallways
Right.
every day.
Just
And he
happy.
was
That's right.
he was the janitor, but he had a strong faith in God, and that's who he was.
Right. What
So
you
anyway,
say is, yeah,
capital Y
yeah.
yoga can be
Capital Y,
done everywhere. Go ahead.
by everyone, regardless of position, title, where you are in life,
Going through
you
a
know,
divorce, losing all your house, being a triple millionaire, whatever, doesn't matter.
whatever. It
Yeah.
doesn't
And
matter.
you can be happy or sad in any station in life at any age, and quite frankly, you can be happy and you have to keep working at it.
You
Like,
do have
I
to
feel
keep
really
working at
good,
it. Yeah. Yeah. And that's the reminder, which I love, Bob. You do have to keep working at it because things happen. You're taken by surprise that you mentioned something, say you lose your house or something. And it's just remembering that, the world life is abundant and you will get things back. Like that's doesn't matter anymore. But it's so important what we're talking about today. And I love how you've summarized it as we can practice this wherever we are, whatever position. So if we were to share one thing for people to walk away from today, to remember from this brilliant conversation, so some form of yoga in their life, some form of stillness, what would you say to someone listening today?
So my one thing is to define to use this term yoga and demystify it maybe and think of just think of your life in a more spiritual way where you get in touch with your inner self. And I would say for everybody, probably, where's the thing? I put the silencer on this device,
Yep.
right, for our meeting.
The
So
cell phone. Yep.
I used to have a flip phone until like 2 or 3 years ago. So don't let this thing destroy your silence. Don't be flipping through. Find a period of time every day where you spend 5 minutes or 20 minutes and you come back to yourself
I love
and
that.
you think about your highest values in whichever they are, whether you're religious, spiritual, whoever you're like, and then let those values define you and feed you and drive you.
That is brilliant. I love that
Because
so
we can't,
much.
the society is at the present time in history, our society is very materialistic,
Yep.
and it's just the way we can't change the way technology has taken things over. We're not all
Right.
farmers digging in the soil every day and getting to see everything and life moving very slowly. It's moving very fast.
Yep.
So one of the reasons I've actually watched, if you look at the scale of the internet and you look at the scale of social media, the psychologist who trained with us, we have a lot of those types of people that train with us. He gave this long dissertation in one of our courses about how depression and anxiety have gone like this, along with the internet, and then yoga. Yoga has
Ah,
followed the same trajectory. Think of how many, like when I started out, there was no fitness club yoga.
right.
They had to come, like I had a million students in like 1990, whatever, 7, 98. There was no fitness club at yoga at fitness
Yoga
club.
fitness
And as
club.
soon
Right.
as, yeah, and as soon as the YMCA started to catch on, it was so good. They started offering all these classes. Our students dropped in the weekly classes, and everybody wanted to learn to teach because yoga was helping so many people. So
Sure.
people like me, well experienced yoga people started training teachers more and more, and they have spread yoga to so many people. And
So
that's
important.
always a good thing. So we had less weekly students, but all these people wanting to train, as yoga teachers, which we still do. And I love hearing everybody's stories about how they've helped people. I mean, maybe I drop one story on you that most
Sure.
recently that blew my mind. We have a lot of these stories. I could go and take on another 4 of your meetings and just tell you success stories. But one recent one was a man who's retired, about 65-ish, went to yoga because his doctor said you should try yoga, your hypertension and all that, right? And he went to yoga and it felt worse. So, but he really liked the teacher, and she's in one of our trainings. And she said, do you think you could try a private class? Because I'm not as good as these other people. So he did a private class, and she tailored everything to his needs. Right. He loved it, and he felt fantastic. 10 sessions later of doing yoga therapy, he played golf, and he was pain-free for the first time in 20 years.
Wow. See, that's so again, important. Wow.
And now our medical system, if you injure your spinal cord or you're in a car accident, our medical system is going to patch you up, and it's going to be amazing that you're walking again. But right. If you just have a little bit of pain and you're not completely, you're not going to go in for an operation, they don't do much for you. And then right. When he started to make the mind-body connections, he relaxed here. He started breathing. He changed his mind a little bit the way you changed yours, and his pain went away, because a lot of pain is based on tension.
That's based on
that's
tension.
Just a fun success story. We have people with asthma who don't have attacks anymore, so on and so on.
Yeah. So many stories that people can follow up on. So, in all of this beautiful, delicious work that you get to do all day, every day, do you have like a favorite piece of clothing or accessory, and how does it make you feel?
So I would be more, in terms of clothing, more utilitarian.
Okay.
Where
that's okay.
I will buy the top quality thing and have 5 of them instead of like 15 lower quality things. It'll last forever, and I'll wear the same thing every day. I don't care. Yep. So the piece that I prepared for our talk is this item here, which is called a surfer's rash guard, which protects your skin from the wax on the surfboard. It can scrape your skin.
Right.
But this one, you see, has a hood.
It's a hoodie. Yeah.
It's a hoodie with a little brim.
With a brim. I've never seen that.
So yeah. And I'm like, I met another guy surfing who had the same one. I went, hey buddy, because you look a little goofy, but guess what? You don't need much of suntan or lotion.
Sunblock, right?
Because try to protect the back of your neck if you're out there surfing these great waves and happens to be sunny. And then even, the front of my face, I will use suntan lotion here, but I really don't need anything for my forehead or like I said, my neck, which is it's a big area that people may not realize can get sunburned. Not to mention my shoulders and the rest of my body, because it's a big SPF. So this is a very utilitarian, fun piece of clothing. We did debate on whether I would say my surfboard itself was my accessory.
We did.
But see, without this, I would skip a lot of surfing days in the middle of the daytime.
Right. Well, then that's your piece.
In the middle of the day. Yeah. So this is it.
That's it. That's the thing. Well, I loved our conversation today because it enlightened me in, the practice that I have, and I trust that it will enlighten others. But if someone wanted to continue the conversation with you, Bob, where's the best place for them to find you? Because you're so rich in knowledge in this space.
Thank you. Our website pretty much summarizes everything. Yoga Life Institute. It's just the word spelled all together. yogalifeinstitute.com. I believe it'll be in the credits.
It will. And I'll put it in the show notes.
Our books are there. Our retreats are listed. Our different training programs for those who are interested. But you know what else I'm going to say?
Please.
Like I like to say, they could talk to you too. Because your experience is valuable, and I think I'm sure you speak to people about your experience.
I do. So that means that you and I can continue the conversation. So that is an office flip-flops first. This is a conversation that you and I can continue, because I would love to connect with your community and see how many people I can help. I mean, that's why I'm here. So that's why I have the practice. Right?
Great.
I'm so blessed to have you, Bob. Thank you so much for your time today.
All right. We'll do a namaste.
Namaste. Namaste, my friend.